Welcome to another Happy English podcast coming to you from New York City. And here's your English teacher, Michael.
All right, so today we have really something very special and exciting. I want to introduce to you Lindsay from All Ears English. I'm sure you all know the All Ears English podcast. Let me tell you a little bit about Lindsay. Lindsay McMahon is the CEO of All Ears English and is the co-host of the All Ears English podcast. The All Ears English podcast teaches English communication and global business skills to 1.9 million followers, oh my God, on Apple Podcasts and Spotify globally. And it's downloaded 3.5 million times a month, oh my God. And that podcast, All Ears English, has been ranked as high as number 1 in U.S. education language courses. Wow, Lindsay and her team have been featured in Podcast Magazine, Language Magazine, and Forbes, and their podcast is awesome, and I am so happy to have Lindsay here on the program. Lindsay, welcome.
Thank you, Michael. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you for having me on. Great to collaborate with you again. Yeah.
Yep, and I have to tell my listeners that Lindsay is the person you can blame for me having a podcast, because way back in 2014, this All Ears English podcast popped up, and I thought, that's kind of cool, a podcast. I've always liked radio. I'm going to do a podcast too. So she was a very good influence on me, and she's the reason why I'm here with you, introducing her. So, yeah.
I did not know that, Michael. I did not know that All Ears English was the inspiration for you to start a show. I'm so glad to hear that. Very cool.
And today, Lindsay is in the States, and I, as you probably already know, am back in Japan. And I thought we could have a little chat today about that experience and Lindsay's experience here in Japan. And yeah, so welcome to the program.
Yeah, excited to be here. Excited to talk about Japan. I lived in Japan in 2005 and 6, and though it was 20 years ago, the memory and just the experience is still very visceral for me.
Sure.
Right? Just the memories. It just was a very formative experience in my mid-20s, and so excited to get into it and see how things have changed a bit over the years.
So what are some experiences or things that you remember about from in those days?
Yeah. One thing that I remember about living in Japan was that it was a 100% cash-based society. So nowadays in the US, now this is not 2005, so things are a little skewed, a little different now in the US, but I don't really use cash.
Right.
Just credit cards. But I remember at that time in Japan, it was cash-based, and in the US, people were using credit cards. So I'm curious if that's still the case in Japan.
So right now I'm living in a really, really small town, and some of the local shops are still cash only. But basically, e-money is the thing now. And so like in the States, there's like a Venmo, or, you pay with your phone, right? And it's the same thing here. There's a very popular app called PayPay, and you show the barcode, and they scan it, and then you hear PayPay, and then you paid. So Japan has really come into the 21st century in terms of the cashless society.
Yeah. So it's not credit cards; it's the cash apps. Do people also use credit card or the credit card on an app? Maybe, for example.
So if a store takes credit cards, they also take the phone app.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I do remember, like, when I was here in the 90s, it was just cash.
Yeah.
So,
what year did you leave Japan the first time when you lived here?
I was here 94 to 98.
Oh, okay.
And I remember when I first started working as an English teacher here, the first couple of months, when I got paid, they paid you once a month in cash.
Yes. I think for me, I got paid once a month in direct deposit, I think is what it was. It was a direct deposit into my bank account in Japan.
Yeah.
But yeah, once a month payments is another thing that was different for me at that time. I think the standard in the US is to be paid twice a month.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's a law, right? Like you have to be paid within 15 days of when you work.
Yeah. Probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how a lot of companies do it. So differences around payments for sure.
Absolutely. And here, still, it's you get paid once a month.
Okay. Got it.
That's
interesting.
Yeah. And then, probably when you were here, you might have gone out with your coworkers after work to a restaurant or something, or a bar.
Mm-hmm.
And, that has completely changed these days.
Really?
Yeah. So
tell me more.
Sure. The younger generation of workers, and when I say the younger generation, like, people in their 20s and 30s, they're interested more in a work-life balance.
Okay.
And so going out drinking with your boss and your coworkers is, these days the workers would say, well, am I going to get paid for that? Is that part of is that considered overtime because I'm working?
That is a dramatic shift in 20 years.
That's a very dramatic shift.
Wow. And would you say, so here's a more detailed question. Yeah. So people in their, new young professionals are not doing it. What about people in their 40s, 50s, like more senior people? Are they still doing that? But it's just people in their 20s and 30s are just not there? Or is it not happening at all?
Yeah, no. So there is a drinking culture, and I think it is the older generation is still doing that. But like back in the day, and when I say back in the day, like when you were here and when I was here, you would, after work, you go to a pub. They call it an izakaya, and you have drinks and have some food, have some drinks and some food, and then after that, go to karaoke and do some singing, and then maybe after that, go to the bar. And so I think they don't have that culture of those 2 or 3 parties a night.
Yeah.
Let's go to the pub, have some food, have some drinks. Okay, see you tomorrow.
Yeah, it's a big change because a big part of my life was that was how I got to know my coworkers. That was how I kind of built those professional relationships.
Right.
And I'm not surprised because we're seeing that in the US too, right? It's a big shift towards work-life balance, towards employees reclaiming their time and reclaiming their independence. It's a good thing. I'm just surprised it's changed so much. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. Oh, sorry. It's interesting to see that people are they'll work hard, but they're not willing to spend their private time with the boss drinking at the pub.
Yeah. So do you think as a result, the relation, is business suffering? Because I think the thesis was always that made business smoother or better or more efficient because we knew each other outside of work.
I don't really know. Like, I've only been here for 4 months. I work just me, I have happy English here. So I don't know, but I think that since there's a decline in the population and there's, it's a worker's market, right? Like companies need people to work. And so I think that kind of pressure to go out drinking with your coworkers, I guess you can build your relationships, during the course of the workday instead of at night.
Yes, for sure. Makes sense. Really interesting.
Trying to think of what else is different. Smoking.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about that.
Right. So I live in a very small town here, and there are a couple of restaurants that have a smoking section.
Okay.
And I put that in air quotes because for me, if you go into a restaurant and there's a smoking section, you can still smell the smoke no matter where you are.
Yeah, of course. It's like an airplane, smoking section of an airplane or an airport or something.
But the majority of restaurants that I've been to here in the last 4 months, there's no smoking.
That's also a big change because in 2005, all the izakayas were still very much smoking.
Yeah.
And I think I think we had already made the shift in the US to less smoking, but it was still smoky in restaurants in Japan in 2005. Yeah. So I'm not surprised about that one.
Yeah. And I asked, it seems like it's not a law.
Okay.
It's more of a cultural trend.
Right.
right? So the government doesn't say you must have a smoking section or there's no smoking allowed, blah blah blah.
Okay.
It's just that these restaurants and the customers are deciding they don't want to deal with that.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean that makes sense. In an organized society, sometimes cultural respect for others can say more than the law, or is equal to the law in a way, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Group harmony here is the theme, I guess.
Yeah. What about one thing I always loved about Japan was the convenience stores and how you could buy essentially a full healthy, I thought it was healthy meal at a Lawson's or I think there was 7-Eleven at that time. I don't remember. Is that still the case? Or
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So they call that a bento. And it's there's some rice, there's a protein like some grilled meat or grilled fish, vegetables, some pickles. There's a whole variety of in a box for around $5 or $7 US.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What a good deal. What a good deal for quality food. I mean, right now, Michael, I mean, you were just here, what you can get in the US for $5, maybe you could get a candy bar or something. I mean, it's definitely not going to be healthy. It's not going to be.
How much is a dozen eggs now?
A dozen eggs. It depends. I've seen it anywhere from $5 to $12.
Gotcha.
Because things got a little off the rails. They have things are kind of insane right now in the U.S. politically speaking. But there was a shortage of eggs, and I think the prices went up. I think they're coming down now, but we could see them go up again. It's really touch and go right now in the U.S. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anywhere between 5 and 12.
Gotcha. Even though I lived in New York, and New York is an island, and I was living in a place called Long Island, which is also an island, very close to the beach in the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah.
Really hard to get fresh fish.
Really? Really?
Yeah. And here, I'm not too close to the ocean, actually. But the fish is, if you like fish, this is a fish lover's paradise.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can, the fish is really inexpensive. A nice piece of salmon is like $2 or $3. So yeah.
I miss that. I will say I love good seafood. I mean, right now I'm in a landlocked state. I'm in Colorado, where I live. So I don't eat a lot of fish because I'm assuming it's not going to be that great. But actually, I resonate with what you're saying in Long Island because my parents are from the Boston area. And so, even though there was a fish market in that town, sometimes I feel like at the grocery store, we would get old fish. And it was a seaside town.
Right.
I mean,
right. It's very ironic.
Yeah. It's ironic.
But traditionally, the culture here is it's an island, so they eat fish more than meat. I think eating meat happened within the last 150 years.
Okay.
And so, fish is plentiful and it's a good deal. And we were talking about those one meal bento box. You can even get those at the grocery store now.
Really? Yeah, I love that.
From a long time ago.
I love that. I remember going to the Tsukiji fish market a couple of times where they still had the tuna auctions open.
Right.
You could still go and watch that auction. I think it's closed now. Is that right?
It moved to a different place. They still have that auction going on.
Okay. And tourists can still see it, can get in there and watch. Okay, nice. Yeah. I'm glad to hear that. Good.
Yeah. And apparently that seems to be a big part of the tourism here. Every time I look in the news, it says that, the number of inbound tourists last month is a world record for Japan. Every month there's more and more and more tourists coming. So like maybe some of the listeners of this podcast might be out there just thinking,
I hope so.
Come to Japan, come see me.
Absolutely. I mean, we did a couple of live events in Japan in 2018 and 2019 for All Ears English, and it was fantastic to be able to go there, for work and bring my coworker there and just relive the days. It was so cool. So cool. Yeah. And,
the other interesting thing about Japan, there always was a good train network, and it's even better now. The high-speed train called the Bullet Train. They've got new routes going to all different places. So it's really, you don't really need a car. As long as you can you hop on a train, you can get to pretty much everywhere you need to get.
Yeah. I mean, in 2005, you used to be able to ride the local train, not even the bullet train. Because for me, the bullet train was too expensive at that time, right? As an English teacher. But I could ride the local train from Tokyo out to the Sea of Japan, out to, what is it? Not Kumamoto. What is it? Can't remember the name of the town. But anyways, Kamakura. Yes. And that was my vacation. And I could just get on the train, a local, like I don't know, 1,000 yen or something.
Right.
It was crazy. You could never do that in the US.
Yeah. It's interesting. Like, that we had in America a really advanced, for the time, train system in the 1920s.
Right.
And that was a really popular way to travel, like New York to Boston or New York to Chicago.
Yes.
And then, the automobile came, and it was affordable. And because Americans have a very independent spirit and, me culture,
right?
If I have a car and I can afford a car, I can go at my speed, my schedule, my time, stop when I want, take a break when I want.
Yes.
And also America's physically large, right? So to connect every place with one train system would be tough.
Yeah, it's such an interesting glimpse into American culture is the car, right? I mean, Henry Ford, right? He kind of made the car relevant in the US, and then there was no going back from there. Once they built the highways, they introduced the car. It's that independent spirit. The American road trip is one of the most iconic experiences you can have in the US, right, Michael? Have you ever done that? A road trip across the US?
I've driven from New York to Florida, New York to Chicago, obviously New York to Boston many times. And we have this, I mentioned this a few weeks ago in the podcast here. The road trip, especially in the summertime, right? You pack up the family and you get in the car and you go. And it's not the destination that's the key point. It's just the journey itself is the exciting part, right? To get in the car and see everything. And
I mean, I built an entire course, an English course actually, which is still available at All Ears English, where I took a loop around the country, Michael, in 2016, 12,000 miles around the US. And I interviewed people that I met along the way in bars and festivals, on the street, restaurants. And then we have all of those interviews as part of activities and learning, listening, vocabulary. So it is kind of the journey, right? And I had so much fun building that course. It was amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And so that I think I'd like to wrap up here with that. So I'm sure everyone knows where to find All Ears English, but can you tell us exactly where to find you and your podcast? And also, what else do you guys do there besides just podcasts?
Yeah, so absolutely. So we do publish courses at All Ears English. We have an app. We have a YouTube channel. But for our listeners here on your podcast, the best way to find us would be to just open their search bar. If they're listening with an Apple Podcast or Spotify, just open your search bar and type in All Ears English. You'll see the yellow pop up and hit that follow button. So the big thing that our whole thing is connection, not perfection. So we bring every podcast episode back to human connection. We figure out what is the piece that will help us connect to live a happier life. And that's what we pull out of what we're teaching for that day. We publish 5 days a week on the show.
Right. And, I've always admired your podcast, and I've always admired your catchphrase, connection, not perfection. Because making contact with other people, I think that's what language is all about, right?
Huge.
You have to be perfect.
Oh my gosh. And it is so freeing when you realize that, when you accept that, you can breathe, exhale, and now we can get to the business of really connecting and truly learning, right?
That's it. All right. Well, Lindsay, thanks for taking your time today to chat about this. That was very fun.
Yeah. Thank you, Michael, for having me on. That was great. Appreciate it.
To all the listeners out there, make sure you type in All Ears English, look for the little yellow, and you'll find them. And then, that's it.
All right. Thanks, Michael. See you next time.
Right. Thanks, Lindsay.
You.
See you next time.
This podcast was brought to you by Happy English. Please visit myhappyenglish.com. Show your support for Happy English by leaving us a review. Get English. Get happy. Happy English.